Hi, I'm Joe. Welcome back. This is the Ultimate Love Letter. Thank you for joining the conversation. Today is a very special combo, something that is near and dear to my heart, something which has been the most laborious, most deepest collaboration with God, the releasing of beautiful writings that God Himself actually wrote by way of me. Our new book, Fake Ass Vegan, which released yesterday, 8/18, and is available right now on Amazon. I was being led to speak about the journey that God whisks us on when we set an intention. I am being encouraged to talk about how God uses every single experience. You know, we hear about God using challenges and adversities in our life for good, how God uses everything. But I'm here to attempt to explain how, although that is true, God uses all the challenges. What is actually true is God is using every single detail of our life to bring us full circle moments that we couldn't even begin to explain when we are on the journey with Him. We could only experience this. We could only experience these moments when we are brave enough to go the very places God is asking us to go and do the very thing God is asking us to do and give away the gifts God has intended for us to give. If we are doing that, we are going to be witnesses to His marvelous works. We are going to look up one day and see how God weaved every single experience for a giant dream come true for you. God is the greatest. I would have never understood this in such depth had I not gone on this journey, this faith walk, this close walk with God. That I didn't know at the time. I thought I was simply traveling the world, but God knew all along He was sending me across countries, across cultures, simply gathering research for what would become this very book. Only God knew, because I certainly didn't. I have to just speak very candidly. I thought straight up that I was just a woman who loved to travel. I have always had it in me. I've been traveling the world by myself, yes, solo, since the age of 18. And I knew that was in me, and I just thought, that's just my passion, and that was what I was born with. And so thank you, God, that I was born with such an incredible adventurous streak, and thank you, God, that this is my destiny to travel the world. And so I thought in the beginning that I was simply traveling the world for pleasure. Yes, I understood, my thirst for adventure and culture and language and travel and I always knew that I never felt as free than when I'm traveling as far away from home. And the reason is because when I'm traveling away from home, when I'm exploring different cultures and different lands and foreign places, it is and it can be scary. So my senses become heightened. And when my senses are heightened, then I bump in organically to what's there, and that's God. And so I've become addicted to that sensation of just deeply going around the world with God, just being in awe and being a witness to the way He takes me across the oceans to places that I don't know a single soul in, and how He protects me and how He guides me and what He's showing me. And so, even though I've taken incredible pleasure in that, and that has become my favorite thing to do in the world, I had no idea that it was a dream within a dream to travel the world, but also in my dreaming to travel the world, God was orchestrating something grand, which was the very writings of this book. Who would have known? He's taking dreams on top of dreams. He's compiling he's compiling the blessings on one after another, simply because I obey. Simply because when God told me book that trip, I wasn't so focused on the money. I wasn't so focused on, God, I shouldn't be spending this money right now. Times are hard, or the economy I hear is going to collapse. But no, God said, book the trip. Don't worry about the money. I will replace the money. You have to go and do what I'm asking you to do. And as I did that, as I stepped out in that bravery, not only have I now traveled to dozens of incredible countries that I would have never thought little old me could even reach, but God used it all to write a book on balance. The book is actually full circle. It talks about living in harmony. It speaks about everything we are doing to our environment, our earth, to each other, what we are doing to ourselves, what we are doing to the animals, what we are doing to weather. It talks about how we have, as humans, become the most destructive animals of them all, and how we have strayed away from the caretakers that we're meant to be. How we have created this imbalance, not only within ourselves, because it starts within ourselves, but as we created it within ourselves, we have created a world of imbalance. So the writings are about how can we find our way back? Well, it starts with us. It starts with what we consume. Yes, by what we're eating, by what we're thinking, by what we're believing, by how we're praying, how we're speaking to ourselves and to each other. It speaks about what we're doing to the climate because of the way we're eating, because of the clothes we're wearing, fast fashion. It speaks about corporate greed. It speaks about eliminating, reducing our footprint on the environment. It is a complete book, a manual, if you will, on balance. And here's the interesting thing. I was actually gifted this title by a beautiful girlfriend who was inspired by my vegan lifestyle. And as we were growing closer during the summer of 2021, she started to adapt a plant-based lifestyle for herself. And I remember she would watch the cuisines that I would eat, and she noticed a trend. She noticed that I would indulge heavily on like milk chocolates and dairy desserts, not dairy free, but dairy desserts. And that's when she said it. She called me fake ass vegan. And she said, you need to write the book. Well, I knew one thing. I felt like God was speaking to me through her, because I fell in love with the title. And even though I didn't know how do I write a whole book on veganism, like it wasn't registering, it didn't make sense. So I tucked the title away for years. It wasn't until last year I just felt like an urgent call to get the writings out, and I didn't know where to begin. So God took me to a beautiful place again because I listened to God. God said, take 2 months off and travel through Europe and Asia. And the longest leg would be in Bali. And Bali is where the bones of this book came to fruition. As I sat down with my laptop open, not understanding still what I was going to write, I remember I just simply took a deep breath. And I knew as I did that, God would begin to speak, and oh, did He? He immediately reminded me instantly of all my travels around the world, starting with the Maldives, and how He connected me to the ocean in the deepest way. How He took me to the Amazon afterwards, and how He showed me what was happening there, deforestation and all the animals that I thought I would see, but surprisingly I didn't see in the Amazon. And then He showed me why. Well, deforestation was the reason. And then came in my trip to the Philippines and all that I learned there. In came plot twists along the way. In came the intentions that I set during COVID. I'm not going to give it all away, but this is a ride that only God could have taken me on. And it started with one simple, teeny tiny intention that I set. And God took that teeny tiny intention and He whisked me around the world. On what I thought would just be beautiful, glorious vacations, but oh no, God doesn't work like that. He works far deeper, far more intentional, far more precisely than that. And so when I sat down and to write the book, and as I gave space for my breath, in came the reminder of all my travels. And so I began there, and God was essentially saying to me, what have I shown you? And that's when the writings started to just pour out of my soul. It's almost like God pushed me aside and took over this book. And as the words just filled the screen swiftly, I started reading back to what I was writing, and it was all about balance. It was about how we have lost our way. And it is a deep cry from heaven to allow us to be steered back on course. There is a deep plot twist in this book, somewhere in the middle. I'm going to see if you can find it. You'll find it. Once you read it, you're going to know that's the twist. But the stories are just beautiful. It feels like as I read this book over and over through the editing, I didn't realize that when your book is going through editing, I mean, I read this book like 6-7 times and it reads like childlike Joe. It reads like that little girl. Talk about full circle. It reads like a pure, innocent child is just pouring out her soul. And that child is me. And I thought back to my first book that I ever authored. I was in the 3rd grade. And I remember how I wrapped the binding of the book on the edges with 3 ribbons to like bind the pages and the cover. I actually created the cover. It was a school bus. It was a picture of a school bus, and I remember cutting out like the windows on the school bus, and you can open the windows and you see little kids like waving. Like, I created the book cover and all the writings with ribbons. And when I think back to this book, our book that we have just birthed, I designed the cover. I drew it out like that child in 3rd grade. Talk about how God heals everything. God really wants to bring out the purity that only lives in your soul. He wants to bring out those childlike dreams that you had. And only he can do it when we give it to him, when we follow him, when we're being led completely by him. And so here I am, almost 50, organically doing the same beautiful creative things that I did as an 8-year-old. And I didn't realize it at the time. But talk about how God uses everything. Not only did he use the travels, and I enjoyed and I savored and I loved every minute of it, but then the creative process of this book, the drawings of the cover, and using my inspiration and my creativity, the ribbons that I wrapped this book in to take my beautiful promo pictures for the release of the book. I didn't realize that, yeah, ding, 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 I had wrapped my very first book also in ribbons. You see, God can make all of our dreams come true. God can make the journey to achieving our dreams grand. Actually, he wants to do it. That is what we're here to do. But what's interesting and what's true is only a fraction of us will actually see God work this way. And this too is my cry, because I'm experiencing it, I want the world to have this level of joy, this level of wonder, to be able to see his miraculous works, to be able to see your dreams come to fruition, for your life to be full circle, for us to revert back to that childlike state where everything was innocent and it was pure and it was all imagination, all vision. Damn. Only a small fraction of us will actually follow him all the way like that, though. But my deep cry is that you do, because it is tremendous to watch him work. I have found myself in the deepest state of gratitude all day. This huge dream, this laborious birth is here. It's in the world, and we own it. And so I'm asking you to, 1, follow God for your dreams, to believe that God has the power, God will, and he will absolutely use every single detail. I don't know what you're dealing with right now, and I know it may seem hard, it may seem confusing, you may seem lost, but I'm here to tell you, if this can penetrate your spirit, God is using it. Please understand that. He's using it all. You don't understand it right now. But when you look back in a month, in 2 months, in a year, you will see how God has just strategically been weaving a miracle using every single detail. Nothing is wasted. That is my message. Nothing is wasted when we are following God. I'm elated. I'm on cloud 9 right now. I just want to thank God. Also, thank you, God. I am madly in love with you, God. You are the greatest. Thank you for my bravery. Thank you for my courage. Thank you for your guidance. Thank you for writing this book. Thank you for digging up my old dreams that I long lost decades ago, that I long forgot about. You talk about, and you have presented them in this book. You are presenting them right now in this moment. I forgot about them, but you didn't, God. But you did not, God. So thank you, God. Thank you, my beautiful community. I want to encourage you, go after your dreams. Go after it. First, seek God. Take God with you, because God will move you along faster, more beautifully, more smoothly. He will make your path straight. The dreams that you forgot about right now, that you're not even thinking about because you know they were long lost in elementary school, He ain't forgot. He wants to give you those dreams, and only He can give you those dreams. Go with God. Go check out our new book, Fake Ass Vegan, available on Amazon. I am stoked. Come back here. Tell me what you think about the plot twist. Tell me what you think about the entire book. It is my deepest collaboration to you. That's it. That's all. I am super emotional. I'm glad I was able to get that out. But thank you so much for being here on this very special convo. I'll get it together. I'll wrap it up. And I'll be more together on our next episode. Until next time, love yourself and love others. We'll chat again real soon. Bye for now.